Hello and welcome to our demo of the Language.io case translation app for Salesforce Lightning and Classic. Language.io makes it possible for your English-speaking customer service agents to respond to cases or support tickets in any language right inside Salesforce. The Language.io app automatically translates between the agent's language and whatever language the customer speaks. We do this through integration with 5 different neural machine translation engines, the best that exist, as well as through our rapid turnaround professional linguists. We can configure your Language.io account to employ machine translation only for speed and cost savings, or to use a hybrid of machine and human translation for higher quality. What's more, our solution supports over 100 languages, so chances are good we support the language you need. And regardless of the machine translation engine used to translate your tickets, Language.io will always impose your preferred translations for terms that might easily get screwed up. In my demo, I'm going to pretend that I'm an English-speaking support agent for the provider of a fictitious online game, Late Wars. I'll use the Language.io case translation app for Salesforce Lightning to translate between myself and a Spanish-speaking visitor who has questions about the new version of our game, Late Wars 5. I'm using the topic of gaming because, as with other industries, there are gaming terms that don't easily translate between English and other languages. For example, the term weapon skin. English is one of only a handful of languages that uses the term skin to talk about changing the appearance of something. If you use the term skin in Spanish, Chinese, or Arabic to talk about the appearance of a weapon, you'll just come across as creepy. So for these languages, a literal translation doesn't work. Unfortunately, even a good neural machine translation engine, like Google, doesn't always know the context of the term you're asking to translate. So if you run weapon skins through Google Translate from English to Spanish, you get the literal and creepy translation of piel, or skin. The way it should be translated into Spanish for gaming is aspectos de arma. To compound the issue, if you translate this accurate Spanish term, aspectos de arma, back into English via a general engine, it will also be confusing for the English speaker who expects the term skin. Aspects of the weapon just isn't meaningful. Luckily, Language.io's glossary imposition technology allows us to configure our service to impose all of your preferred translations on top of any of the 5 different machine translation engines that we might use to translate your ticket. For this demo, I've added the term weapon skins to my configuration so that it's always accurately translated into Spanish as aspectos de arma and back into English as weapon skins. Let me show you how it works. This is the Lightning view in Salesforce, where support agents respond to emails for customers. Bear in mind that Language.io also works great in Classic if you haven't yet migrated to Lightning. As an English-speaking agent, I open the next case that is waiting for a response. When the Language.io app is installed, it shows up as an extra tab in your page layout. In this example, it's called LIO Translate. When I click on that tab, I'll see that the incoming customer email is in a language I don't speak. But that's okay, because Language.io provides a button next to it for just this scenario. When I click on that translate button, the Spanish text is sent to the Language.io service, and the best possible machine translation is retrieved and pushed right back in to this tab. We're always going to use machine translation to translate incoming customer questions, because that's the fastest and least expensive route. Furthermore, if it's not a perfect translation, only your support agent is going to see it, not your customer. Instantly, we see the translation into English. Hi, I would like to know if the new Late Wars 5 is going to include new weapon skins. Thank you, Izarsuri. As you can see, Izarsuri used the Spanish term aspectos de arma. Which Language.io properly translated into weapon skins for the agent, thanks to our glossary imposition technology. This translation is great, but note that next to it we see a retranslate button. This is for scenarios where the initial machine translation was not perfect and the agent wants to see a better translation. We can also configure your account to request a rapid human translation when the agent clicks on Retranslate. Our rapid human translations turn around on average in under half an hour, and we can set up notifications so your agent can go about their business while they wait for it. Now that the agent understands what Izarsari is asking, we can go ahead and respond as we normally would on the email tab's visual editor. Hello, Izarsari. Yes, the new Late Wars 5 will include new weapon skins, part of the special ground assault pack. Please see the information below to reserve a copy. Best, Diego. Now let's translate the custom portion of our response for Izarsari that includes the term weapon skin. To do so, we just click on the Translate button to the right under Translate Agent Response Email. Note that here you've got options. You can have your response translated by a machine or by a human. We usually default this toggle to machine. But for highly technical responses, it's not a bad idea to let the agent select human, though this toggle can also be hidden and locked down to one or the other. For now though, we'll leave it as machine and move on. I click on the Translate button. It sends a request to the Language I/O service. We see it was successful. And when the page refreshes, we'll see that a Spanish translation was pushed right back into the visual editor, with weapon skins properly translated as aspectos de arma, instead of the literal pieles de arma, so the customer isn't confused. Now before we send the response, we need to add a pre-translated quick text. Language I/O saves customers money and makes your agents more efficient by human translating your quick texts ahead of time. In this case, I know that we have a quick text already human translated into Spanish that tells Izarsari how to reserve a copy of Late Wars 5. So we'll click on the Quick Text button. I find the quick text I want, already translated into Spanish. It's copied into my email. Now our complete response is ready to go, and we hit send. And Izarsari has received a fully translated response. Lastly, it's important to note that all threads in this Salesforce case, including the translated ones, are stored in the Language I/O activity table. So, if you manage support agents and you don't speak Spanish either, but you want to see the contents of this exchange, it's all right here for you in English. That concludes our demo. Thanks for listening, and for more information, please visit languageio.com.